from 1986, the last Sony Betamax sold in the UK. I present to you the glorious Sony SL-F25. Hello, and welcome to another Mr. Betamax video, and this one's a little bit different insofar as we are looking at the last Sony Betamax to be released in the UK. No, you already know that. But it's the F25. It's a very basic machine, and looks odd because it's got this sort of real sort of lip on the top, which makes it, to me, it just makes it look a bit cumbersome. It's almost like they're trying to maybe make it look thinner than it is. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. The design sort of choices here are really weird. Just by way of information, serial number on these is on the top. Sony went through a bit of a stage with the later machines of putting the serial numbers in odd places. So it's here on this one, on the F25. So you can see it sort of reminds me of the Orion VHS machines, with this sort of tuning arrangement, and just, it's cut down, it's cheap, it's made to a budget, but it is a Sony, so it's still well made. Power supply is pretty good, although it does have a DC-DC converter, which can cause problems. It is remote control, RMT225, and I will see if I've got one of those. But this machine came to me from Steve. Thank you very much, Steve. And it's been up in his attic for a number of years, and I actually have no idea what's wrong with it. I didn't even ask Steve because we're too busy with V2000 machines and talking about all sorts, and I didn't even think to ask. Now, I know I haven't featured one of these on the channel before, but I have actually done a couple of these, and they're generally pretty good machines. The deck, I think, is a 711 B3. It's either B3 or a late B2, but we'll see. Can't remember, because it's been probably 2.5 years since I've seen one, maybe even 3 years since I've seen one, so forgive me on that one, and shout at me in the comments. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, because they're quite fun machines in their own very simple way. So with that, let's crack on. Okay, so bargain basement, so we've only got 2 screws to take the top off. Always tickles me that screws are always the first thing to go on budget machines. Let me know in the comments why that would be. It seems a bit daft to me that really cutting that many corners, although it does the job well. It's fine really, isn't it? I'm just moaning. So, here we go. So a lot of the adjustments are brought to the edge of the board here, and there's loads of space to get in there. I think it's a 2-board design, maybe a 3. We'll take the bottom cover off in a minute. I think it is 2-board. And yeah, that's a B3 deck, I'm sure, but I will need to check the manual to confirm that, but I'm sure it is. It looks like it. And you can really see just the evolution of the Betamax deck. This is quite interesting. They actually don't use a metal clip. It's just this carbon doped plastic molding, or molded plastic, all linked. It's really cool. So we've got the same issue with the loading gear. You can see the black gear at the bottom there, potentially splitting. I don't know, that might actually be broken, but we'll see. We'll see. And yeah, let's check. Plastics tend to be a bit better. It's just a little bit younger. I mean, not much, to be fair. But yeah, it's looking pretty tidy and pretty good. Wear-wise, doesn't look horrific. It actually looks shinier on the camera than it does in reality. So yeah, there we go. Obviously it's a mono machine, very basic, 240 volts with transformers, very simple power supply. I don't think it even does it use an SDK? I think it probably does. I can't remember, to be honest, so let's investigate that. But I think next I'm going to take the bottom cover off, so let's have a look. So Sony really were cutting corners by this stage. You can see there's lots of places for screws, but there's only one screw. But it's not that they're missing, they're just never been fitted. That's amazing. That almost looks as if something might have been in it, but it's not, it's just muck actually. So yeah, they've just decided to hold it on with one screw. So if you've got an older F25 that happens to have all the screws in, just chuck them out. Go the modern way and don't just put the one screw in. Can I do this? There we go. Yeah, so it's a 2 PCB design. It's actually a very clean machine. Again. And all of this looks good. You'll notice it's got different glue on the Hall effect. This glue, I don't believe, suffers from the moisture ingress problems, so you can leave that. Let me know in the comments if you found anything different, but the few machines where I've seen that type of glue, or the sort of, it's almost luminescent green glue, they seem fine. I just don't touch them. But like I say, let me know. You can see the spool there. It's got optical pickups there, and yeah, it's dragging against a brake there. A solenoid there. Yeah, so it really is a very basic machine. You really can't get much more basic than an F25, and that has, has pros and cons to that. I mean, it's a remote machine, so that's cool, but it's not super beta, it's no hi-fi. The deck is pretty good. I have to say I don't rate the later decks maybe quite as well, but this is still sort of pretty close to like the C30, C20 type decks, HF100. So yeah, it's a good machine. So just very basic. So I think we are in a position to test it. So I think I'm just going to plug it in. I might do a plug check because I know you love plug checks, so I'll do a plug check. Plug check coming up. I wasn't going to do a plug check, but I thought I would. So here's the plug check, and oh, look at that! There is a clue. Yes, and oh gosh, that's great. Fantastic. Perfect. Is that a first? I think that's the first one I've seen where the plug is wired properly, the cord grip is perfect, and it's got a 3 amp fuse. Wow. Steve, you are a legend on this channel. Okay. I don't know if I feel nervous about doing this, but I'm just going to plug it in to see what happens. And there we go. That was exciting, wasn't it? It came on. Okay. So all looks good. I suppose we ought to put a tape in, connect some leads up, and see what the picture's like. Okay, so it's our old favourite cassette. Oh, well, there we go. No. Okay. Well, let's try rewind. Okay. I'm going to eject it again and just keep an eye on things. So this belt is really floppy, but also it was a bit hesitant and sort of... Oh, it's fine now. I'm taking the cassette in. It's got that little pause, which can be caused by the leaf switch down here being a little bit mucky, maybe. But yeah, winds and rewinds, which is always good. So far so good. It does look as if it just needs service, but we haven't actually played a tape yet, so let's do that next. So let's press play. And oh, there's a bit of something. Jolly good head clog. Oh, I had a really good picture there for a second. There we go. So, where's tracking? So, yeah, it's looking good, but we have got some tearing on the video signal. Tracking wise, furthest right, furthest left. So the heads are good, it would seem, but we do have some sort of low signal situation going there, low luminance maybe. Although I seem to remember this recording can do this sometimes, so I might have to try my test tape. But yeah, encouraging so far. Okay, so I'm going to clean up the upper drum, have a look at this module and the power supply, and we'll lift this board as well and have a look. But the first thing I'm going to do is take the front off and just give the display and the window a bit of a clean. So it's very easy to do. There's 3 tabs, no screws. There are actually holes for screws, I believe, maybe. We'll see. So let's lift those tabs. It just literally comes off. Yeah, so you can see they have actually they've actually provided screw holes. I don't think this one has one at all, so that's fine, but here and here there are, and just not used. No even space to put a screw in through the plastics on the actual front panel. So yeah, I'll get and do that, and yeah, we'll take it from there. Okay, so that's all done. Much cleaner than it was, but to be fair, there's not much dust in here. Front loading system door, just in case you're wondering, this can be removed, but I haven't removed it because if you push it up, you can actually get cloth in there quite easily and just give that a clean. But if I just zoom in here, this assembly here actually stops the door from sliding that way to take this out. So basically what you would do is press here, here, so it's just behind here. I guess you could put a blade of a screwdriver in there, maybe that's what it's for, and with enough force it would push this back and this would slide out. Now don't quote me on this, I still don't have a manual, yeah, but that seems to be fairly logical. I wonder if I can actually just get enough. I don't want to push it too much because obviously the plastic's getting quite brittle now, but yeah, that's how you would do it. So yeah, worth noting. I have found the remote. I've actually got two of these somehow. IMT225. This is the better one. There are batteries in here, and I've tested it. It does work. But there's no LED. It really is a cut down. Everything about this is cut down. It's just cut down to the bare minimum, make it work well, but it just doesn't have any bells or whistles at all. And for that, it's actually a really cool machine for it. I mean, it's historically very interesting because it just doesn't have all those features. It's like, here's a Betamax, you've got Betamax, here's a Betamax machine. Very basic, you're not going to use it for much. It's almost like the war was won, and it was, I suppose, especially in the UK. But yeah, let's get the front cover on and quickly power it up, just make sure everything's good. And then the next thing, I think, we'll look at that DC-DC converter in the power supply. Power back on, looks much better. Let's crack on. Another thing I forgot to mention, we will have a look under here as well and just see what that black toothed gear is like. Very common failure point on all these decks, to be honest. But let's have a look at the this DC-DC converter. I'm intrigued to see just how many caps are in there, and I probably will recap it just because it is a real candidate for issues on this machine. Like I said, don't have a manual for it, but I have found somebody that might be able to sell me a digital version, and I'd just like to see it, to be honest. I mean, these machines are fairly rare. I mean, I believe they're UK market only. You might be able to maybe tell me otherwise. Oh, okay. So I was thinking that might just completely lift out, but it doesn't. So that's looking like I am going to have to take out the power supply to get to it. Super. So we have got arrowed screws. We need to lift this board first. Let's take out the audio and video, because that'll stop it. Well, actually, it won't stop it lifting, because there's actually a split bit of plastic at the back. So they're all the same screw, self-tapping, 5 of them in total. And there are little tabs just to remove. Let's move that over. Power supply. So, how simple is this going to be? I've never taken one of these out before. Let's move it over. So, not the best view, I know. So, a little bit of plastic there. So, 2 screws here. And so far, I'm seeing 1 more screw that will be holding it. Doesn't seem to be any on the back. Is that enough to remove it? No, there's 1 more. You can see. So taking this screw out here, and then screw here. Oh, and then there's a screw other side of here. And that's probably it. How much of this can I actually unplug? Not much. Yeah, I mean it's plugged. So it's a plug here, and there's a plug down there. There's this plug here, but they are cable tied as well, so if I can avoid it, I won't cut those. I don't see the point. There's a power supply. It looks very simple. Certainly much simpler than the C 20, 30, 40, etc. type power supplies in many ways. But there we go. Just what I thought we might see, an SDK chip. It's an SDK 7217. Good luck trying to find one of those. Loads of caps on there. Part of me is tempted to just leave the cage off. It's just like something else to cook it, really. But I will put it back on. I'll give it a clean. And yeah, I don't know. Do I replace those caps? Or check them? Yeah, let's take it off anyway, and take a look and just see. I mean, the other thing I'm interested in is there any sort of heatsink compound or anything. So let's do that. Okay, so it's out. There is some heatsink compound on there, not a huge amount. And I'm tempted to just change. It's a 220/35 volt one, so that's probably for the tuning voltage, tuner. Then we've got 16 volt, 1000 microfarad. That's worth changing because that's probably going to be like a 12 volt rail. And so at 470, it's 16 volts. So that could be like a 9 volt or a 12 volt. I don't know. A little inductor there, a little capacitor there, which probably might be worth changing because it sort of rings to me a little bit like it's an Elno as well, the C20, 30, 40s. So yeah, so I think what I'll do, it's 100 microfarad, 16 volt. So I'll probably change that one, that one, that one, and that one. Part of the reason I'm doing that as well is that one especially will probably be a lot smaller. It's just giving more airflow. I was saying about the heatsink compound. There is actually an insulator, so yeah, that sort of adds something into the equation of the whole thing. So it needs to not be grounded, but that's fine. What I do is I give this a bit of a clean this up, and I'll put some fresh heatsink compound on there, just the right amount, just to really make sure that heat is dissipated properly through the base plate here. It's a little bit low cost how this is done, but still, you know, can't knock it. It is designed in inverted commas, so yeah, I'll do all of that and take it from there. Let's crack on. So I have all the caps and all ready to go. In case you're wondering, this thing here looks like a cap. It's actually an inductor coil. So you can see there on the print. So yeah, let's get this changed and crack on. It's all done, and you can see with modern components, it's got a lot more space for air to sort of move about. You might be wondering about this component as well. This is actually a semiconductor fuse, and you can see it there, PS001, and yeah, these can go open circuit, but it's just worth knowing that if you've got power supply issues, I don't know what this feeds. I still don't have a manual, but I would guess, well, 35 volts. So I would guess this is probably for tuning, to be honest. And perfect amount of silicon compound, heatsink compound. So yeah, it's a good liberal covering, and that will really help dissipate the heat from this. There was really not enough on there as it came from the factory, so I'll install this, put the cage back on. I'm going to put the cage back on, and we'll turn our turn to the upper drum. So, quick check. Power supply all back together. Does it work? Yes, it does. Super. Okay. So, be interested to see how hot it actually gets now I've redone that silicone grease as well. It's in compound, but yeah. So next thing's the upper drum. By the way, check the caps, and they were actually all good, except for this one that actually read relatively low, not terribly low, but it was sort of like 150 microfarads lower than it should be. But otherwise, they're all good. So that's actually really encouraging if you're going to buy one of these machines, that probably the caps will be okay. But it's done, and replaced with really good ones. So yeah, let's crack on. Okay, so first of all, sorry for the noise. It is absolutely baking up here tonight. It's so hot. And I've got a fan on trying to get some air circulation going. Yeah, so we're all pretty much good to go, to be fair. I know we had some image tearing at the beginning of this video, and what I found out is it's just the cabling. The extra long video cable that I have is not the best quality, and that combined with the SCART RCA to SCART or phono to SCART adapter, and then the switch box, and then going to the TV, it's just lowering the video signal so much it's tearing. So and just by playing with the switches and jiggling all the connections, it's fine. But yeah, I'm just winding this on to get past a bit of damaged tape and all the rubbish on it, so we can just have a look at the image. So yeah, you'll remember that it was tearing quite badly, especially on white images, or bright images. This tape does have a bit of damage on it now. I've used this tape quite a lot, and you might have seen it in previous videos being used. And of course, yeah, this is what happens to tapes. When you test machines, they do get a little bit damaged. So yeah, so with this machine now, all I have left to do is do that upper drum, and I'm not going to show that. I'm actually running out of time because I have another project that I'm doing a video for, and I actually need the device. So watch this space, subscribe, and you'll find out what's going on. Yeah, the upper drum, I will do that. It also needs a jolly good clean, so I'll do that. But like I said, I won't show that in this video. I've done it before on several other videos, so go and have a look. If you look at some of the C30s, for example, I go into quite some depth about resurfacing the upper drum and the best way to do it. But before we close, what I will do is I'll take this apart, and we'll just have a look at the black gear. You can just see there that commonly cracks. We'll just see how bad that is and how easy it is to get to. So let's press eject. Oh, the other thing as well, when it's powered off and then you power it on, you push a cassette in, it won't take it the first time. And I think it's just like a self-check thing. It almost doesn't know which position the deck is in, maybe? I don't know. But basically, you push the cassette in the first time, and this motor will do just a brief hunt. And then you push it in a second time, and it goes. So it's just like the deck is just learning where it is. In fact, let's see if it does it. Let's see if it makes a line out of me. It's just my thought, although having said that, well, let's just try it. Yeah, so that's happy, but as reset. Well, maybe that's something I need to look at. I just noticed, I just have a vague recollection as well. The last one I did was like that, and it was absolutely fine. It was never a problem, but maybe let me know in the comments. Is that a normal thing? If you've got an F25, you power it off, leave it, like overnight, whatever, power it back on. Do you have to do it twice before it'll actually come out of standby and load the cassette? So yeah, so let's get to checking this gear out. Okay, so first of all, we need to move this board out of the way. Obviously, I haven't put the screws back in, but it's where the arrows are. Sony being Sony, then unclip here, and it lifts out the way. Need to get the belt off. I'm just trying to remember how to do this. It's been a while. I've worked on one of these decks. So that comes off. It's a little clip here, and then that just lifts off. No tensioning on the belt. The belt seems very flappy, floppy all over the place. What you can do is you can actually boil these in water, being careful obviously not to get direct heat onto it, and they will shrink, but I just wouldn't bother, to be honest. Let's put that there. So screw here. And screw here. And there is some cable management which can cause problems, I seem to remember. me move it. Oh, that's fine. That's enough. So that is perfect. Say that. What's going on there? Yeah, so you can see it's actually absolutely perfect. It's actually really great, to be fair. Yeah, there's no cracking there at all. There's what looks like some sort of something going on, but there actually isn't. It's just where it's broken off the plastic mold during manufacture. What's interesting as well, and Betamax Rebel Outpost was saying about the later decks having much better loading motors, and this is one of them. I think this is what he was describing. These are much more reliable and more refined. But yeah, if if you watch this, can you just confirm that? That'd be really cool. Thank you. Yeah, I'm really sort of very interested in whether that is the right motor. But yeah, so the other thing that's interesting as well, let me just lift you up. Looking in there, I don't know whether you can see, on the older decks you had like clear plastic sort of insulator, and on these it's actually molded plastic, and you can see it's cracked, which is not altogether surprising because it's a big thin bit of plastic molded into a metal chassis that over that distance or that surface area is going to put a lot of strain on, so that's going to crack up, but that's fine. It doesn't really matter. So yeah, that's really cool. So I'll put this back together, and like I said, I'll do that upper drum, and it's good to go. A lovely machine. The power supply, even though it's like 40 plus degrees up here, this is still cool. It's amazing. Just that little bit of extra heatsink compound has really made a big difference to keeping that cool, so it's worth doing. Yeah, but it looks like it doesn't suffer from cap problems. Again, let me know in the comments if you know different. And it really seems like a good, reliable machine. I mean, I'd be quite happy to use this as an everyday driver, and yeah, it should really last. So with that, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. Bit of a long one, I think, but yeah, it's really cool. And I want to give a shout out as well to Kevin and to Marty. Thank you both so much for everything you've done. All the correspondence been absolutely wonderful. Really appreciate it, and really helped. And yeah, with that, thanks for watching. See you in another video, and don't forget, like and subscribe. Really means a lot to me. Bye for now.